16, the Double Dribble Podcast. Of course, I'm Destin.
And I'm Drew.
Drew, man, Drew, how you like these playing games so far, man?
I really liked the last one. But really a couple of them were really good games. The Heat and the Hawks, not so much. Although we did get to see a little legacy performance from Kyle Lowry out there having a
Oh
throwback
man,
game.
man, he just they say he turned back the clock.
Yeah, he turned by the clock. He was damn near carrying them down the stretch. He was the only reason why they even in the game.
How
So,
you
man,
how you how you like the playing tournament? You think it's a good thing? You think it's
see, that's something I feel a lot of people have been complaining about now. Like they're like, oh, like this team worked all year to get to that record, and then they could lose it in a couple games. To me, at first when I heard about it, before I saw it implemented at all, I wasn't a fan of it. Um, but now after seeing a couple of years of us doing it, I like it, and I do think that it makes the last end of the season more competitive.
yeah,
Yeah, you might say it may not be fair to a team that's got a slightly better record. Sometimes it could be like a markedly better record, like more than 5 games. But but to me, like if you're in that position as a 7 seed, like let's be honest, you're not really in a good position to do anything anyways, right?
oh well,
So like so
oh
like
yeah,
yeah, so like if you I don't think you have really a lot of room to complain. Like, okay, you're a 7 seed, you need to take care of this team in 2 games. You should be able to win 2 games. If you can't win 2 games, then what are you complaining about the playoffs, right? Like you're gonna have to win 4. So I don't think like I'm not really looking at it like that, as in like it's a detriment to those teams. I think it makes the season more competitive. It gives us more competitive basketball. I don't think that's ever a bad thing, right? Because yes, we still have the playoffs, but it adds to the playoffs. Like it's more higher stakes basketball. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. So I think that the trade off is like the 7 seed potentially in either conference could be like in a slightly disadvantaged situation. I don't think that's. I'll take that trade off. You know,
man.
and
I feel
so
you. I got like I'm like in between. Like I got mixed emotions about it because from like a historical perspective, it's like you play like the whole season. I feel like the whole season is pretty much a play-in tournament, and you fought hard to get to the seed. You should get in. And from like a historical perspective, it's like, well, I can reach this seed, and it's like another team in the past have reached this seed, but now I still have to play my way in. Whereas another team that weren't as good as me can take my spot. Which, but I also understand it from the entertainment and the fan perspective because we have been seeing some entertaining basketball, especially that comeback yesterday with the Bulls. The
yeah,
Pelicans and Thunder game was really good. That Lakers game was, man, I was so stressed. But that's teams trying to make the playoffs. Um, from like I feel you saying though from like the grand scheme, it's like a seventh and eighth seed. They're not
yeah.
gonna
Like,
really.
have we ever had a 7? I mean, now this could be in
Yeah,
your world. In your world, you hoping this is the exception, but we ain't never had a 7th or 8th seed win the championship
we had
ever.
a I forgot what seed it was that made the finals in
We had
'99.
the
And
8th seed. It was the Knicks,
the
but that
Knicks.
was also a lockout season. They weren't a true 8th seed. Like it was a really weird situation,
Yeah, but
and
yeah,
and even then they got bodied. But no team in the 7, 8 spots ever won a championship, and no team in a real regular season 7 or 8 seed really done anything
yeah.
noteworthy except for maybe upset. Now there's been some upsets like first round upsets, which could still happen with the playing factor. That could still happen. Um,
I think
to
I think if I could make it better, I would say if it's and I think you just said that a couple minutes ago. If it was like a games if it was a separator when the amount of games that a team that's the 7th seed and the 8th seed, let's say the 7th seed um is one game behind the 6th seed.
oh
But
yeah,
they
check your mic real quick. Just check your mic. I think it might be. It's probably good, but just check to make sure. It sounds okay, but just like
What about now?
okay, yeah, you
All right, bet, cool. So let's just say like the 7th seed is 1 game behind the 6th. Clearly they're the 7th seed. But let's say they 5 games ahead of the 8th seed. I don't feel they should have to play their way in just because they clearly better even record wise than the 8th seed. So I feel like there should
Okay,
be
so I know I hear what you're saying because it's standing. But okay, if they're better, then they have no reason to lose to the 8th seed and then the
yeah, but
and
anything can happen in a one-off game though.
hey,
Like
that's what. So they got two. They got 2 games.
yeah, but my thing is you can see how much clearer a team is better by looking at a whole season or even a playoff series. That's why I enjoy the NBA because usually the best team is gonna win because if you can't beat this team 4 out of 7 times, you're not better than them. But in a one-off game, anything can happen. Let's say a player goes down, or some any type of it's one game. That's why I don't know if it's that close in record, then I'll be fine with it because I think the first year of the play-in in the bubble, that's what they did. If you were like 2 games, if it's like 2 games separated, they'll have it. But if it was like 3 games, nah, it ain't no point of you playing. So that's
to
cool.
me. I would just say like, okay, if that's the case, then you need to do better in the season and get one of those top 6 spots. Avoid the play-in.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah,
But,
eventually, yeah.
But
Yeah.
also like another way, like because to me, I'm gonna take it back to what I've always thought for probably like at least 10 years. Honestly, more than 10 years. I've been thinking. I felt this way because I understand like we're all about equality and things being fair and like competitiveness or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, dissolve straight up, and I would say this to anybody: dissolve the conferences, f all that, top 16 records going 1 through 16, top 16 best teams. That's how I've always felt. I've never liked it because for most of my life, the Eastern Conference was getting a bunch of garbage teams in there, and we had teams in the West like, damn. But you have like 5 teams in the West that have better records than like that are missing the playoffs. That are better records than half of the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? Or like it was ridiculous. There was years where it was like teams that were 50 wins that were like 8 seed in the West. And we had teams in the high 40s, mid 40s missing out on the playoffs entirely. While in the East, we had number 1 seeds facing sub 500 teams, 2nd seeds facing barely 500 teams. I'm like, oh, we want to talk about this thing being fair now when it's a playing thing. Nah, we should be talking about it every year, every single year. Nah, we need to get the 16 best records. There's no reason why you should be a playoff team when another team that has a better record is missing the playoffs in either conference. To me, if we want to talk about fairness, that's what we should be looking at. And it's been talked about barely. I remember like a couple years ago, but they obviously it didn't get passed because we got a lot of owners in there's more equal owners in each conference, right?
Yeah.
But to me, that's the real conversation.
And that's a real conversation to have. I think there are some downfalls to that. I see somebody in the comments. They even said like especially traveling from East Coast to West Coast. I mean, it could be different. I mean, and you play and it's a lot of factors that go into making the playoffs. Let's say you have the same record as somebody else in your conference.
Yeah, they'd have to make some changes. Like
they go based off conference records depending on who get the higher seed. And it's other different rules that probably have to be changed. But I am a fan of the fact that the 16 best teams should be in the playoffs. But
to me,
I think there's some things that have to change first before they dive straight into that because
I mean they'd have to change the schedule, and so you couldn't have it. You'd have to have a more balanced season series type of thing.
Yeah,
you couldn't have it where like they just play. They have to make it more equalized as far as who's playing who to make it make sense for the conference. But I still think when it comes down to it, it makes more sense. If you have to mess with that, if you have to mess with the season series setup, it still would make more sense than having a team. I don't know how many years it's been most years that we've been watching ball where we've seen teams in each conference, especially like now it's slightly different this year to the East, but where there's been teams like 4 or 5 teams missing the playoffs for teams with better records, or teams with worse records in the
from East to West.
Yeah, from East to West.
Yeah,
we've seen that so many times. Like I can remember like so many years it's been that case, and people would like barely talk about that. to me, like that's a bigger deal even now than the playing thing. And so that's really what I would talk about. Find a way to fix that. Because then you want to talk about getting really competitive basketball or more interesting 1-8 matchups, more interesting like top seed, lower seed, like competitive
Yeah,
series.
you definitely gonna see some more upsets for sure.
More upsets, more series going longer games. Especially like I don't know how many years where it was like I remember like there was teams in the East that were like in the top 3 seeds, and I'm like, damn, if they were facing one of the teams out West that barely missed the playoffs, they would have had a much tougher series. I could just think back
because I remember
like,
me and you, we were talking about when like how LeBron, even though he faced like the best of the West when he got to the finals, his competition in the East wasn't that strong, and he could have potentially lost to one of those West teams, which
not even just that maybe he would lose, but it would have been a tougher road.
Yeah,
and sure. that goes for everybody. Like we know it factors in. I think one of the things that's underestimated every year, every playoffs. I don't think it's just that like, oh, did you beat like the best team when you get there in the finals then? But your pathway to get to the finals, the better you can make that, a lot of times it bodes well for your success going into like deeper rounds, going into the finals. Like if you have a less strenuous stretch to get to the conference finals, to get to the NBA finals, a lot of times
it'd probably be easier for you.
Yeah, a lot of times it helps in your favor because that's less wear on your players' bodies, less likelihood for injuries, less likelihood for just something like
more rest.
More rest. All that stuff plays a factor eventually when you get further and deeper and deeper and deeper into the playoffs. Because we're gonna look at perfect example is you can't tell me the Warriors didn't benefit last year from some of those situations they had in the earlier series, right? If you compare them,
like when they swept. They didn't sweep Denver, but they won in 5 when they didn't have Jamal Murray.
But getting Denver was a great matchup for them because Jokic didn't really have anybody, and they could just put him in the torture chamber, right? But they were able to take advantage of that. Then they also got Ja get hurt in their series. They get to take advantage of that. And like there's a lot less stress on them having to go through these deep, long series to get to the conference finals, right?
Yeah. And whereas you can make an argument that the Celtics were actually better because they went through the grind more so than when they got to the finals, you know, they probably was less like fatigue.
But that probably wasn't really the case though. Like we could think about it that way, but when they got there, you could probably argue that they might have had a little bit more nicks on them, a little bit more. Because I remember, I don't know how much I'm gonna give it as an excuse to him, but I remember Jason Tatum was saying that he had some kind of injury, right? And they did have
that's a part of the game, though. But
but they had a longer series. They had a long ass series with the Bucks. They had a long ass series with the Heat, right? And those series were like battles, right? It wasn't like it wasn't a breeze whatsoever. Like to get it, like they could have lost either one potentially, right?
Yeah.
And while the Warriors coasting all the way, pretty much, and benefiting from guys being out on the other team, but also when they get to the conference finals, they get Luka and the Mavs, who they just smashed, right? And then they get to the finals, and you got the Celtics damn near going 7 games,
limping
right?
into the finals,
pretty much. And like people could look at it and be like, oh, they're battle tested, like they got through all that. Yeah, that's what you could say. That's what people say when they win. Like when you win, you'd be like, damn, they went through because they did go through the better teams, you might say, record wise. And and especially
but they didn't even
Giannis, right?
They were originally supposed to play. You talking about Boston or
Boston?
Well, I don't know because didn't
they did.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, because the Warriors got the Mavs who upset the number 1 seed Suns, which was a blessing. And they got the 6th seed Nuggets.
Speaking of them, Mavericks just come off a 7-game series against Phoenix, so you know that's some more fatigue, which goes in the Warriors' favor. So you know, it's all a part of it.
So I definitely think that helps when we're talking about making that deep. It's not like an end all be all thing. But it definitely, I think, helps in your favor to like take care of business in shorter games and series. And what helps better than having weaker competition, right? And so if you look at it like over the years, I feel like it's a lot harder to make deep run after deep run after deep run if you run into long series in earlier rounds year after year, getting battle tested, because it sounds good and it's entertaining to watch for the fans, but for the players, like it would be much more beneficial if they can get an easy opponent and take them out in 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
Boom, conference finals, and like to me, like I would say like top 16 best records, we would see a lot more. It would be a lot more balanced overall for like regardless of which team is in the superior conference, right? Because right now I would say the East is the superior conference slightly because of a lot of the injuries and stuff in the West. But it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
But I would say the East is better because the West has just been a mess. Part of its injuries, a big part.
Yeah.
But it's just been like a lot of guys in and out. We ain't really have no strong feeling on a lot of things out West. But
all right, cool.
Yeah.
So before we get into the last 2 playing matchups, I want to know what was your favorite moment from these playing games? Because I had one, but then yesterday it changed. So from these playing games, because the Hawks won, the Lakers won, the Bulls won, and the Thunder won. So
yeah,
which one of those games?
I mean, the Lakers game was entertaining to me, but it was mostly for like all the wrong reasons, right? Like it was like it wasn't like, oh my god, this is some amazing basketball.
Bro, I was
going down the stretch.
Boy,
it was like, damn, I don't know who's gonna win this game, but I feel like
Yeah.
they're both trying to lose this game. That's what it felt like. And
threw the game away like 4 times.
For a while, I was like, damn, are the Timberwolves about to run away with this? And it was like, because Cat was coming out, he was hooping, he was playmaking a little bit.
Yeah,
he had like,
on the back passes and
he was driving, taking people off the dribble.
Yeah,
he was he had his jumper going, but then like he started getting foul trouble. He started to settle or not play as aggressively. And then we had Ant have the worst game of his career, probably.
He was selling like a mug.
Yeah, he was selling. He didn't like he wanted the ball, was trying to pass it as soon as he got it. Then when he would catch it, he would just hold the ball, be staring people down, dribble in, take a deep shot, shot, or just throw it to somebody else. Oh, here, Conley, take it. Oh, here, Kyle Anderson, you take it. Right. And I was like, damn, this man really don't want it. And then we saw LeBron on the other side start to turn up in the second half. He ended up hitting that big 3 to tie it.
He was turning it over. Like
he was turning. He had some uncharacteristic turnovers.
Yeah.
Like there were some bad passes.
The one that really made me mad, I think it was the one when he was in the post and he was posting up Taurean Prince and he just like kind of threw it away. And I was like, bro, what? Yeah. Like it was one when he was he didn't run hard to the ball. I think that was the one. That was a loose
Austin
ball.
Reeves threw it, right?
Yeah, and the other one, I think.
I was surprised though when I thought he was gonna get pissed because he took it like pretty much.
Yeah, but I think because he know it kind of was his fault though because he was supposed to run harder to the ball, and the other one was the pass to D'Angelo Russell when I think D'Lo was supposed to come harder to the ball, and then LeBron turned it over, and then Taurean Prince almost hit a freaking 3. I could have sworn that 3 was going in, bro. Yeah, that Lakers game was crazy. I'm glad we in the playoffs now. See, that's the type of things that can happen in this one-off type game, like just crazy things. But I was gonna say my favorite moment was when Dennis Schroeder hit the 3, because that picture is tough when him and LeBron are like,
it should have been the game winner, but
it should have been the game winner. But AD, but nah, yesterday was crazy, bro. Because
which one are you talking about? OKC and
no, not that one. I want everybody to see this. I want everybody to see this. So
it's probably what I was gonna show, but yeah.
DeMar DeRozan's daughter,
yes,
was at the Raptors game yesterday. Mind you, the Raptors, they were leading this game by 19 points, if I'm not mistaken. And every time the Raptors shot a free throw, I want everybody to see what happens.
He's very temperamental. So in any particular game, if he steps the wrong way or something,
Y'all heard that?
Turns it and causes
I want y'all to see.
She got worse with it too. Like she got way worse with it.
Official visit to Florida State. Asked him, "What did you guys do?" He said, "Well, you want to be."
I'm telling you, man.
Or did they make you the 6th man? And Patrick said,
"I was working as well."
Coach Hamilton wanted, and
she's literally screaming every time they shoot a free throw. And
to me, that's a shriek. she was shrieking.
bro.
That's not even a scream.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like-
yeah. That's not even a scream. Yeah, that's definitely
Right.
a shriek.
That's
Like
like-
she and it worked. Like they came back in the game. The Raptors, who I think they one of the best free throw shooting teams in the league,
they missed. I think it was 17 free throws they missed.
They went 50% from the line,
Yeah.
and the Bulls came back. They won,
It worked out
and
for both
I
of
had
them.
I had the Raptors actually winning this game, so kind of made me mad.
I did too. Yeah.
Made my prediction wrong, even
And
though
they would have.
Yeah, I would have preferred for the Bulls to win because I like some of their players, especially Levine, how he turned up. DeRozan came alive. Alex Caruso, you saw his defense versatility out there, just being a beast, being a pest. But they wouldn't have won that game without DR DeRozan. That's her name.
Straight up, she was the X factor. She was their third best player in that game.
Yes, she was. She was a beast. It's unfortunate
She was
though.
the MVP.
DeMar says she's not coming back to. She's not going to the Miami game though. So
yeah. What made it so effective though is the fact that they were on the road, right?
Yeah.
Because that and when you're on the road, when you're the home team, everyone's gonna be quiet when you're shooting your free throws.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody at the front screaming loud as hell.
Yeah.
There's no way you're not gonna hear them, and it's gonna catch your attention.
Yeah.
Now you should be able to tune it out after like the first time at least. But she was getting all of them. Now maybe some of them were. That's another thing. Maybe some of them weren't expecting it. You know, but like I think that's what made it so effective is that they probably never experienced that in any other playoff game or any other game.
Scotty Barnes even said it.
He even said it. It's embarrassing to admit because you got mentally like jacked up by like a 10-year-old girl, however old she is, and like that cost y'all, like, you know, that your playoffs.
The playoffs.
But it makes sense how it would work because I can't remember that ever happening. I can't remember somebody doing it like to that effect, like where you could just hear them every single time. If we could hear them as the viewer on TV, it probably sounds so much louder for the player right there shooting the free throw.
The only thing I can recall to where it being something like that slightly was when it was the year after the bubble when it was no fans in the arena, and then Devin Booker was shooting some free throws. They were in Toronto. And then the mascot, all he seen was the mascot, and the mascot was throwing him off. But technically, that was a quiet, empty arena. But the mascot was throwing him out too. But that's the only thing I could kind of equate to that.
I remember him saying that. To me, that was way worse. I mean, he was complaining about was done to me. Like, come on, man. But yeah, like that. That's still wild. And to me, if I'm like one of these advanced analytics GMs, I'm gonna start looking into it. I'm like, hey, we need to pay.
Daryl Morey for sure gonna have somebody at the next.
I dead ass think Daryl Morey is watching that, and he's probably like, he's like, hey, could we pay a fan to go travel with us on the road and sit under the opposing team's free throw, like right where they shoot, run their hoop, and just scream their asses off?
The analytics show it works 100% of the time.
I'm telling you, man. As long as it's legal, they ain't banned it. Straight up, I immediately, if I'm a GM, I'm like, all right, we gonna pay a fan, season ticket holder, whoever wants to, they can go sit on the opposing team's hoop and just scream their ass off every time they're about to release a free throw. Because
was she on both sides? Like, did she flip sides during the game?
Hold up, did you?
Or can they just hear the scream from the other side of the court? Like,
was that all in the second half?
Nah, because it happens. It was on each basket. Like you could see it. It was on each basket they was on.
I'm tripping right now. What the hell did she do? Did they get seats in both sides?
Hey,
imagine if she was like, "Daddy, let me get seats under both hoops." They bought her 2 sets of seats, and then she just switched after each.
Man, nah.
Because I remember for sure she was under the Raptors hoop on the second half. That's what I remember really noticing it.
Mm.
But maybe she was that the first half too. I can't remember in that clip.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know I heard the screams though.
But yeah, man, no, that's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can get into these next play-in games.
OKC and the Pelicans.
Oh,
As
you want
well.
to let's recap that one. That one,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't after watching that game, because I'm a huge fan of Ingram, especially when he came from the Lakers. I was mad because, I'm like, bro, Zion, where you at, bro? You supposed to be out there helping my dude out. And I know he's hurt or whatever, but it's like, bro, it's the same thing that just happened last year. That a ninth seed, he kind of like dragging them to the playoffs. He's playing great, but like, bro, it was just, I don't know, it was just upsetting. But okay, see, I got to get him credit where it's due. They came out.
Really, the one who came out hooping was Dort. If Dort didn't come out there, I think he had like 15 in the first quarter. If he wasn't coming out
he was
playing like that, they would have dropped. They would have fell behind big time.
Yeah,
because
yeah, for sure.
That's
But
probably one of his best games.
I thought what New Orleans could have did was because Valanciunas was kind of like killing them, but he didn't, like, when OKC made their run in the third quarter, he got like no shots, like, at all. Like, he was killing. I think he had like 16 points, like 19 rebounds, but he had like no shot opportunities. And CJ, for whatever reason, I think he has like a messed up hand, whatever. I feel like,
yeah. See,
I feel
to
like
me, I don't like when they say that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just the last time I saw him shoot like that and just have like no lift on his jumper was when he had that bad back. It was like a couple years ago, and he could not make nothing. Like, he was just, his shot was just like flat. He was either shooting it too hard or hitting like the front of the rim. Like, that's the only thing I can recall. But he was trash. I ain't gonna lie.
Back-to-back games, because we already talked about what he did against.
Yeah, he
Minnesota.
sold in the Timberwolves game.
Yep. That was what gave me pause about this game. It's like I did not like what I saw from him in that game. Like, he was not playing good, did not look right, and then he came out there and was probably even worse, given the stakes, especially.
What you think about that? The Heat and Hawks game.
We both were wrong on that game. We thought they were gonna clamp up Trey.
Yeah.
And instead they clamped themselves.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, Jimmy had 21 points. He had a decent stat line at the end, but he did not really play well. The Bam, of course, he just, once again, like, that's been like an ongoing thing with Bam. Like, he just like seems to just lack that aggression that you want to see.
He just loses his aggression, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of,
there's times where I'm like, he's like very aggressive, very like physical, and like, is constantly attacking. And there's times where it's like, where are you at? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, and like, he doesn't seem to showcase. Like, he's way more skilled than what he usually showcases. Like, he's got like footwork, and he's got good touch around the hoop, and he's got a decent mid-range shot. We just don't really see him utilize that enough. I don't know what it is. But yeah, he just didn't step up like he needed to either. And then they ended up counting on Lowry to try and save them at the end out of nowhere.
And they were letting Clint Capella.
Clint Capella was looking like Clint Capella the first year they got him.
He had like a million rebounds. Like, it was.
Yeah. I saw, like, one of my friends, he sent me this thing. Like, Capella was like, he's a Hawks fan. He sent me this. It was like Capella and Okongwu. They both two of the best rebounders in the league when it comes to like contested rebounders. Like, contested rebounds, something like that. They were like two, like they were the only like team that had.
It was like contested rebound percentage or something like that.
It was contested rebound percentage and contested rebounds per game. All right, and it was like those two dudes were the only. It was them two, and they were the only two guys on the list that were on the same team, in like the top 10. And so I'm like, hey, I guess like that's one thing that they could be, they could at least potentially beat somebody up on the glass. I remember they had a game against the Celtics. It was a close game. They lost at the end, but the only reason why they were in that game in the regular season was because they were killing them on the glass. So I'm not saying they're gonna do something, but they might steal a game.
Yeah. Well, since you just brought them up, we can actually get into that series of the Celtics and the Hawks. So, who you got this series, and then how many games?
Celtics, and I'm gonna go 5. I was feeling a sweep initially, but Hawks surprised me a little bit. I know it's just a one game, but I do remember that game in the regular season that stood out to me. I feel like Trae Young is gonna give us something a little bit better this postseason. I'm expecting. So I think that he could at least get them a game. And I think that they'll probably have a game where like everyone's firing, hitting threes. They maybe win that second chance points battle.
Mm-hmm.
And also the Celtics have looked this season a little bit shaky sometimes against lower competition. Like they haven't just been dominating teams that they're supposed to necessarily. They've lost to a lot of bad teams this year. And I got to see if they just gonna like step on the gas and just steamroll the Hawks from beginning to end. I don't think that they're gonna do that necessarily. I could see them, going up 2-0 and then losing that first game back in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say that the Hawks gonna still win in Boston. But yeah, I'm gonna say Celtics in 5.
Well, I'm picking the Celtics. I'm unsure if I'm gonna go 5 or 6 though. The only reason I may go 6 is because of this new Celtics coach. I thought he did a pretty good job in the regular season as far as coaching them. But there are a few games I watched when it seems like they'll give up a lead, they'll fall in love with the 3-point shot a lot. But they still have a great defense. They have 2 star players. They have an MVP candidate. They have elite shooters everywhere. So they'll win the series. I don't think it'll be really just a contest. I'm unsure about 5 or 6 games right now, but I think I'm gonna go 5. Because I think they still got some stuff to prove. Some people still doubting them as far as their dominance this season and their run last season to the finals. So I'm rocking with the Celtics. I think Tatum, Brown, they're gonna be a beast. I like how Derek White has improved this season. The Celtics, they do have they may have a problem with the interior rebounding. It just depends how much Robert Williams plays in that series. Al Horford, he's older, but there's no back-to-backs in the playoffs, so he should be able to go every game. But so I think I'm rock with the Celtics in 5. I think I'm a concur with you. Yeah, I think Tatum is gonna be a beast as always. Go off on him. So we'll see how that works out. But I mean, I'm impressed with the Hawks though, because not as far as the season as a whole, but I doubted them going into this Miami game. Like Dre, he was telling me, he said, I can't believe you gave the Hawks a 10% chance. But I was like, dang, they dead ass went out there and won this game. And they tearing up Miami. I got a partner. He called he called Bam. He called him Scam Adebayo. But yeah. But yeah, I'm rocking with I'm rocking with the Celtics in that series.
You already know what I call Bam. That's Evan Mobley's ceiling right there.
Look. Someone say, hey man, I was wrong. Hold up. All right. Let's see. What's the next one? I'm trying to see if I can get matter of fact, we can actually go to Grizzlies Lakers. And then after that, then we can do
the playing matchups.
Yeah, the playing matchups.
Yeah.
So Grizzlies Lakers, man. The matchup I predicted. Well, we almost didn't get it because of the Lakers want to BS. But who you got in this series and how many games?
This one's tough for me.
Yeah, it is.
Because before I in my head, I want to say that the Lakers can pull this off and they can beat them. Especially when I look at the fact that the front line of the Grizzlies is decimated. They don't have Brandon Clark. They don't have Steven Adams. And I'm thinking about Jaren Jackson Jr. I remember last playoffs, this man had 5 fouls every game.
Bro, that's
Right?
ridiculous.
Somebody
bro.
had 5 fouls every game. So, and I'm like, to me, I'm like, if he was getting in foul trouble like that crazy last postseason, and he's not going to have anybody else back there to help him, he's going to need to be playing out. He's going to be needing to play bigger minutes because they don't have any quality rim protector that they could throw out there when he's on the bench.
Mhm.
That's going to be a problem, especially if AD starts to get him into foul trouble. Like, I don't know what defensively, like they could really exploit them. So it's a lot of this series is gonna heavily depend on, can this man stay on the court? He has gotten a little bit better at it, but we got to see it in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Can you be disciplined over the course of a series to not get into foul trouble and anchor that defense, because you do not have anybody else out there that's going to be able to do half of what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I'm like, that's going to be a benefit for AD and the Lakers. But also I'm thinking about Ja and Bane potentially going off in this series, and who's going to get the better of each other. I know that the Grizzlies have been a pretty strong defense most of the year. They do have home court. The Lakers, to me, they started to turn on late in the season, but I see some things sometimes that makes me be like, it's really questionable at times. And so I'm like, it's going to be tough, but I'm going to say Lakers in 7. I'm going to say Lakers in 7, but like, I could see this going either way, honestly. And I would not be surprised if it's something crazy. Like, it could be Grizzlies in 6. But I really think I gotta see it. I gotta see the Grizzlies knock them off. I gotta see Jaren Jackson prove me wrong and stay on the court like he needs to. I feel like I don't see how that doesn't play a factor. Not having 2 of your other best big interior defenders out for a whole series. Like, I feel like if you're AD and you don't make that be a story in the series, that needs to be like a big story in the series. If it's not, then I feel like AD's either got hurt, which would suck, or he's like,
trash. He's selling.
Underperforming. He's selling. Yeah. He's not doing what he needs to do. Yeah. I feel like that needs to be on the front page. Like, we need to look at this and be like, damn, like that. If we're not talking about that, then that's gonna be a problem for the Lakers. But so yeah, I think that he's been playing great for the most part, and he should be able to outplay Jaren Jackson Jr. So he should be able to get him in foul trouble. So I'm leaning towards that. And then LeBron, just like over the course of a series, he should at least be able to match, Ja. If he can, if not match him, then come close to it. And then we'll see. I don't know if I don't know exactly what we're gonna get from Austin Reeves, seeing his real serious first playoff run. But if he's gonna have to prove that as well. He doesn't really have a lot of experience in that regard.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I'm leaning towards the Lakers on this. But I'm feeling pretty good about what I said in my little criteria thing that I mentioned the other day. That's gonna be my new thing, my new non-stats based criteria thing: talent, health, experience, continuity. Straight up, that's what I'm going. That's my thing. I literally just like thought about it. I'm like,
I like that.
I feel like if you think about every single series, and you just throw out the numbers and just look at those factors, which team beats which team in those factors, and I put it in that order. And I would say that the Lakers, you could argue they have more talent. I would say they do.
More healthy.
Second, the health thing is going to be a big factor. Right now, I would say they're healthy, so.
Yeah,
but that could change in the course of a series.
True.
If that changes, if
somebody
gets hurt on the Lakers, like one of the big guys, like AD, then of course that puts the Grizzlies in a very good position.
Yeah.
But experience, Lakers, right? And then continuity, it's about a push there. There.
I'll probably say Grizzlies. They've been a tight knit group. They've been together. Longer the whole season at least.
Yeah, you'd probably say it's probably Grizzlies too, but the fact that they have so many guys, like I think important guys out, that I feel like that could also be that also Matter of fact, what am I talking about? That can go back to the health thing. The fact that they are the more injured team.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Lakers right now going into the series, I feel like the Lakers have the talent and the health on their side, right?
Uh-huh.
And they have the experience. They have potentially 3 of the 4. But yeah, I would say that the Grizzlies probably have continuity. Now we're gonna see. We're gonna see how they perform. But I would say for majority of the cases, majority of the matchups, I feel like that's a pretty good little criteria right there to see who usually ends up winning. But there are exceptions.
Yeah, I think that's a good basis to have when you evaluating some matchups. Man, I second that. I think this series definitely gonna be tight, nail biter. The Grizzlies, even though like they're young, they have a bit of experience themselves. They have great players. They have close to a superstar. We can debate whether we think Ja is a superstar, a star or not, but he's legit. He's a real deal. They have arguably the defensive player of the year. They have great coaching. The Lakers, they have arguably 2 top 10 players in the NBA. They also have a really good defense. They have depth now. Man, it's gonna be a tight series. This is probably gonna be one of the most competitive first round series we have, probably other than the Clippers Suns series, which I don't know how competitive that one will actually be since they don't have Paul George, but
or the Kings Warriors potentially.
The Kings Warriors too. Kings Warriors, that'd be very competitive, but this one is definitely gonna be must watch. Of course, I'm gonna pick the Lakers. Even if the Grizzlies had Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, and Jesus Christ. Well, yeah, I'll probably still pick the Lakers. But to actually break down the series, I was watching some film, and I just don't see how. And I think they didn't have Brandon Clark, and that's when it was 2 games. The Lakers didn't have LeBron, and what they struggled with, or D'Angelo Russell, I believe, what they struggled with versus the Grizzlies was taking care of the ball, and I think having 2 high IQ guys with LeBron and D'Angelo Russell, that will fix that issue a lot. It'll leave less pressure on AD to be your primary. No, I won't say your primary offensive weapon, but to be, he doesn't have to be your primary decision maker. He can just go out there, run the pick and roll, trust his pick and roll ball handlers, which is D'Lo and LeBron. I think that's a huge factor going into that series. Looking at the previous matchups, AD for the Lakers to win this series, I do expect AD to go out and just be a beast on the glass, be a beast on. Bro, I did not say that. Bro, be a beast. Nah, someone text about that in my group chat. Be a beast on the glass. Be a beast in the paint, and make Jaren Jackson Jr. have to guard you, because if he does have to guard you, then he's gonna be a risk in foul trouble, and that will hurt the Grizzlies. That's what I kind of predict from this series. But I do expect the Grizzlies to come out there and fight, be who they are. They ain't gonna make it easy on the Lakers. They can very well win this series in 6, like you said. I think the Lakers can probably win it in 6 too. But just seeing how good both these teams are, and I do expect, like you said, I do think Dillon Brooks will be the primary defender on LeBron. He's gonna play great defense, but I do think as the series goes on, LeBron does get better throughout the series. He will understand different defensive tendencies from him and the back line, which will have Xavier Tillman and Jaren Jackson. So I think that would and then if you get into a game 7, I'm not gonna go against guys like LeBron and AD, especially LeBron, who's like one of the best game 7 performers in NBA history. So I can see this series really going either way, but rocking with the Lake Show.
Lake Show and what? How many
Yeah,
games?
7. Lakers in 7.
Okay.
Beating them in Memphis.
All right.
All right. We can move into these playing games. I think they both are tomorrow, right?
Yep.
All right. So we can start with the
Bulls
Eastern
and
Conference
Heat.
game. Bulls at the Heat.
Neither one of us saw this game happen, so it's gonna be I feel like I gotta go with the Heat here. I think if the Heat lose this game, it's gonna be just a mess. Like they went from the number 1 seed last year to miss the playoffs altogether. And Jimmy Butler had a subpar performance, so did Bam. I feel like they gotta bounce back. I feel like they can't follow that up. They're at home again as well. They're gonna have back-to-back stinkers at home. I don't see that. I think that they're gonna come out there. They're gonna lock in on DeMar. I think he's gonna have a worse game. He's not gonna have his daughter to be their best player out there, and so they're gonna be missing the MVP. No. But like yeah, that's their X factor. They're not gonna have some crazy free throw shooting night like that to benefit from, because that's wild for a team to miss that many free throws. Really, in any game, whenever a team does that, that's called, unless it's the Lakers because they be doing that. but
they shoot the most though.
Yeah, that's true. They lead the league, and they also one of the worst in the percentage.
Crazy,
which is a crazy combination.
Yeah,
but hey, I mean, it's better to be that way, right? At least you get a lot of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, I think Jimmy's gonna come out to have much better performance. Bam, I think he's gonna redeem himself, and they're gonna take care of business. I think they're gonna win, pretty solidly. I don't think it's gonna be like a down end of the wire type of game. But let's see if the Bulls can prove me wrong. I know Zach LaVine was out there hitting crazy shots in Toronto. This man has some.
He was out there
tough ass shots. Yeah, and so like, if he comes with it again, you never know. But I don't know. I feel like Miami's gonna have a big bounce back game. And yeah, how you feeling about this second playing game?
I understand your Miami pick. For me, man, yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I know you say playoff Jimmy is a bit of a myth.
Oh,
yeah,
it's a myth. I think it's 100% a myth, and that's gonna be like, that's something I'm gonna start saying, because I feel like people are running.
I think he's better than regular season Jimmy, but I don't think he's just this superstar, best player on the championship team type player. I think it's a line in between.
Yeah, to me, whenever somebody says somebody's like a playoff whatever, it means to me when somebody says that to me, it means like majority of the time, more often than not, like you are this way most of the time, right? So like it means to me, if somebody's like you playoff whatever, that means that you are like, and because it depends if they're talking about a negative way or a positive way, but to me it means that like you are either great most of the time in the playoffs, or you're garbage most of the time in the playoffs. Usually when they try to like playoff people usually try to say that to mean like, Paul George's ass most of the time in the playoffs. And with playoff Jimmy, they usually use it to say that he's like, good most of the time.
Yeah.
Or he's a beast most of the time. It's not true. Has Jimmy been great in the playoffs? Absolutely. But we're talking about maybe 3, I'm gonna say 4 series in his career, right? This man been in the league for damn near a decade, I think, or over a decade.
Over a decade.
Over a decade, right? He's been in the league over a decade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talking about 4 series in his career, and most of them were literally since he's been on the Heat, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to remember a time in
the
Timberwolves. No,
he got packed up in 5, and he averaged like 15 points a game in that
Chicago.
No, yeah, and so like that's really going off of the last few years since he's been in Miami, and not even most like it's probably split. It's a few of the series since he's been in Miami, because he's had some garbage series with the Heat too.
Because if you look at I think his first year with the Heat, I would say Bam was the best kind of it was Bam, Tyler Hero, Jimmy. They was kind of all doing it by committee. He wasn't just sticking out being this superstar player. Into the finals, he was great against the Lakers. But
Yeah.
even if in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics, I thought Bam was their best player. The following season, he was garbage, dog water against the Bucks. He was pathetic.
I continue to say that was the worst to me. He had the worst playoff series performance of any star I've ever seen. I thought about it with Trey,
Julius-
but to me,
Oh well, I actually don't think Julius Randle was a star.
so yeah, this was on player choice on Open Gym. They were saying Julius Randle. First of all, to me, like I think it's funny that some of them will say it because a lot of them don't even think Julius Randle is a star, right?
I
But
think he's a star.
yeah, but like
All-star at least.
to me, but I would still say Julius Randle's wasn't worse because they won a game.
Yeah,
To
at
me,
least.
the fact that y'all got swept, and I don't care who it's against, when you get swept and you're ass
Mhm.
and you're ass and you win a game, I don't care who, as long as you won a game, that your performance to me was better. So
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks versus the Heat, that would have been the worst to me. That would have been the next worst, Trey. But the fact that Trey won a game and he actually hit the game winning shot, he was an important part in that.
Yeah.
That to me makes his performance better than the Heat than what Jimmy did. Because Jimmy was just garbage. He wasn't playing
Every
good
game.
D. He was getting
He got outplayed by Brent
Chris
Ford.
Middleton was cooking.
Yeah.
Middleton had one of his best playoff. I think maybe his best playoff series he's had.
Yeah,
was-
he
was
was
damn- was
frying
in that.
Jimmy.
Yeah,
And
Shot
Giannis
50
wasn't even that great.
yeah.
You know?
Giannis wasn't even that great. And so if Jimmy could have just been anything close to playoff Jimmy, they would have won a couple games probably in that series. But yeah, he got steamrolled and he was garbage. And yeah, to me, you can't be playoff Jimmy, and you have arguably the worst series of any star ever. Right. So
Yeah.
to me, that's my knock on it. But yes, he has last year he was great. Yeah, last year he was great.
Mhm.
And that bubble run, he had a great little finals and
Mhm.
he had some big games against the Bucks.
Man, if he hit that shot against the Celtics, boy, that would have been crazy, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, if he hit that shot,
That
it
would
would have
be
been insane.
Oh no, it would have been no way for you to push that narrative because they would have just thrown that shot in your face like every time.
Yeah, I mean, unless he goes to the finals and he sells in the finals against
Well,
the
yeah.
Warriors.
Yeah.
But
Which
which he very well could have did, but I mean, who knows? But
yeah. I think this gonna be a great game. I'm gonna choose the Bulls. I'm gonna choose the Bulls. My head is telling me pick
they
the
got
Heat.
you back in. They got him back, baby.
They got me back, man. They got me back. I saw Alex Caruso flying around, defense, taking charges, blocking shots, stealing the ball. Zach LaVine being a beast that I know he is. He got his legs under him the last 2.5 months of the season. He's been amazing. I can't believe I'm rocking with DeMar DeRozan in a playoff setting. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the Heat have an edge in coaching. I think they have home court, the experience factor. But I don't know. Just something telling me take the Bulls. I may be wrong, but I think the Bulls, they really want to make the playoffs. And they may have another matchup with the Bucks. And Bucks will get them out of here quick. But
That's
yeah, I
what
think
know.
yeah, like some things telling me everything, numbers and history, everything telling me take the Heat. But I'm just choose the Bulls just because I think they can pull it off. I think they very well have the personnel and pieces and star power to pull it off. But the Heat is probably like the obvious choice because I don't know if you saw the thing on ESPN, how they had all their panelists or whatever. It was like 17 of them for the Heat versus the Hawks. All of them picked the Heat, and the Hawks social media team, they ran away with all that. Like I don't know if you saw the thing with Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley said, "I bet you $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Yeah, I put $1 billion. The Heat smoke." And then
But yeah,
after the game,
to be honest though, when Charles said that, that's immediately when I was like, all right,
yeah, because he put a curse on
Hawks,
you.
Hawks probably gonna win this shit.
Yeah, when Charles Barkley say, "I guarantee," it's like, hold on.
Yeah, that's the kiss of
man.
death. That's the Chuck kiss of death.
Yeah, he basically put a curse on you right there. So I don't know, man. Charles Barkley, I don't know. Maybe I'm
I
gonna
still
put
remember it.
Maybe we should record right after Charles Barkley make his guarantee. That
Yeah.
way we
I
can,
remember like what was the most? I remember going back a long time. What was the most? I remember the first time like this Charles Barkley guarantee thing was like became like this curse thing for me.
Mhm.
What was like? When do you remember? Do you remember like the first time you remember it being like a?
The
I could tell you right now.
um,
When I remember him doing it
At
OD
first-
a long time ago.
At first, I wasn't really peeping it. Like I watched the pregame stuff. I wasn't really peeping it until somebody made a compilation of it, and it was like, oh shoot! Every time this dude say this shit, the team freaking lose. But I don't remember the exact team. I don't know if I can remember. But wait, was it the? I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I can't remember the exact.
For
team.
me, I mean, for me, this is when I remember it really being a thing, but it's possibly could have been before this. But it was 2007, first round.
Was it
Anything
Dallas?
I'm about to say. Dallas versus the Warriors.
Mm.
This man was saying like he was up on that guaranteed versus like the Dallas versus the Warriors, and people were talking about they were showing how the Warriors.
Shaq was still in the league when he did that.
That was before Shaq had gone on the crew or whatever, and it was when it was just Kenny, Chuck, and Ernie. And I remember like he was out there and he was talking about because people were posting that regular season thing because back then that year the Warriors had like dominated them in the regular season, the Mavericks. And a lot of times when the playoffs come, a lot of people are like, they dismiss that. It's not really a big of a deal, it don't really mean anything because that was just the regular season, it's the playoffs. But no, for that matchup, it actually meant something. Like they owned them in the regular season because like they actually took advantage of certain matchups and Dirk in that series. But I remember when the Warriors won the first game, even after so before the series, he was saying the guarantee thing. And after the Warriors won that first game, he was saying the guarantee. I think he was wearing like a Mavericks jersey and everything. This man was like full on like, yeah. I want to say he was wearing that jersey. It was like that blue and green one. I want to say he was wearing. I think so. That's what I recall. But yeah, but he was like fully all in on them, and yeah, we know what happened. Classic upset right there. Classic 8-1 upsets. But yeah, he was all over that guarantee. And that was ever since then. I remember like damn near every time this man does that, it backfires almost every time. It's not even that like this when he does it, it's when he's like really he talks it up, right? Like when he's really adamant about it. Because sometimes sometimes he might guarantee it and it might go under the radar. Maybe, oh yeah, they definitely winning, But then there's other time where it's like he makes a big show of it, and it's like, oh,
I guarantee.
But yeah.
All right, so let's see something. I was trying to get Jeremiah come on before we start talking about his T-Wolves, but he ain't.
Oh, he out there? Because man, I gotta hear from this dude if you can. Because man,
Yeah,
I know this season's been hell for this man.
Man.
This season had to be hell for him, man.
You already know.
Like he had his boy who was supposed to be most improved, who damn near was. I mean, he was really good this year, but he didn't make most improved.
Most improved.
Jaden
McDaniels.
Yeah, Jaden McDaniels. He had most improved.
He did improve.
I mean, he was really good this year.
He did say and was gonna be an all-star.
Yeah, he was. That wasn't happening. But but yeah, like I think he
made the all-star. And
I thought you were saying McDaniels.
Oh no. The Ant.
Oh yeah. Oh no, because I also had Ant as the first time all-star. I think we all did. Yeah, we all had Ant as the first time all-star. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I think he had. I want to say he had the Grizz. No, I want to say he had the Timberwolves like the third seed. I want to say. I might be wrong, but I think he had them the third seed.
I had them pretty high too. I didn't.
Yeah.
They're a weird team. I think they're a good team though, but it's just weird. Like, because it's like they're.
I mean, if we're gonna be fair, like they did lose Cat for like 50 games.
Yeah.
So,
but it's like their main pieces, as far as their big man, don't really complement each other, because having Rudy Gobert on with Cat severely hurts your offense. But when you take one out. Let's say you take Gobert out, your offense improves dramatically, but your defense suffers a lot. And then flip it, it's like the complete opposite. So I don't know. I don't know if they had enough time to try to make it work, or just figure out like what's their different roles on offense and defense. They made a mid-season trade to get Mike Conley, he's been pretty good for them. He was great. Freaking the other day, he had the best game of his life.
Like this man was shooting and he was like calling his shot. You saw when he was letting it go and he was looking back at the bench. Like I'm like, man, this man talking trash. Like,
bro, it felt like he couldn't miss. I was like, bro. But yeah. So who you got? Who you got for this game?
Gobert's gonna be back,
Mm-hmm.
which should be interesting after the whole suspension and everything. They had a great little come together game against the Lakers that they ended up blowing at the end.
Yeah.
And they've weirdly been better when it's just one of them for whatever reason. It's been short sample size, but whatever reason, like when Cat's playing without Gobert, or when Gobert's playing without Cat, they've been better than when they together.
They kind of made the run toward the playoffs mainly without Cat in the lineup. So they was doing pretty well.
The Thunder had some big performances. Giddey like stepped up huge. They were clutch.
Yeah. Giddey.
Dort had one of his best games of his career, probably. In that first playing game. Shea came on big in the second half. He kind of started off slow. I want to say that the Thunder are going to win this game, but in my head, I'm like, Ant was just so bad in that first game. I feel like he's got to come out big tonight or tomorrow night, and he's got to bounce back from that game. I feel like if he I feel like he's gonna in a big way, like an efficient 30-point game at least, right? And I think Cat can still have just as effective as a game as he had against the Lakers in the second game. Yeah, it's a tough one, but I'm gonna go with the Timberwolves at home, bouncing back, winning this game, because if they lose this game and man, no, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Timberwolves. But
Understandable. For me, it was as soon as the game ended with the Thunder and the Pelicans, I picked the Timberwolves. I think the fact that Anthony Edwards went out sad like that last game, watching him as a player, I know he's going to come out with a lot to prove. Cat is going to be a beast. The problem still exists with OKC is their interior is terrible, and Valanciunas was like tearing them up, but he just wasn't getting the touches and the opportunity, I think. But Cat for sure is going to get that. Rudy Gobert is going to be all over the glass, cleaning up OKC's offense, rebounding on their offensive end. Shea, he's great. It sucks that they won't have Jaden McDaniels there again. One of the best perimeter defenders in the league.
Yeah, they could really use him on Shea.
But I pretty handily picked the Timberwolves in this game. I think, and they'll be back home. OKC is very young. They would have made the playoffs, man. That'd be insane for them. They way ahead of schedule. People didn't even pick them to make the play-in, and they right here can make the playoffs. Just one game. Yeah. But I think the Timberwolves, I think they get it done tomorrow, Minnesota.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Ant have a big game, especially because it's not an easier matchup by any means. Like Dort's gonna be on him most likely, and he's gonna be, it's gonna be a fun matchup to see Dort and Ant, see how he does. Because it was good seeing Dort go at Brandon Ingram. Ingram also had his moments as well.
Yeah,
But that was a nice little battle. We saw him, and then we also saw Herb, and
Shay,
Shay. Yeah.
and
So-
Josh Giddey, man, he's just like a Swiss Army knife. He has no bag whatsoever. But
But that last night he was hitting his threes. He was on it.
and
With
he has execution. He's gotten a lot better from his rookie season. Last year, he can pass really well. He's attacks the glass on both ends. He has good size. If he's making his shots, man, hey, look out. I still think he has a lot of room to grow as a player, but they all do. That's a young team, and they shouldn't even
The biggest
here,
thing,
really.
biggest thing for him to me is he needs to become like an above average 3-point shooter.
Mhm.
If he could do that, then we can start talking about it, like him like as a more legit, guard, star potential, or whatever.
like a
going
real
forward,
centerpiece.
Yeah, because people,
for
I saw like
OKC.
you saw him talking about, like, is he? I know you were peeping on the open gym thing that they were talking about how could he be the next Jason Kidd or something like that? I'm like,
I probably
I was like,
I probably left because I had went to the gym.
yeah, I was like, get out of here with that. But they were entertaining for a little bit, but then they were like, of course not defensively, like he's nowhere close.
Yeah. J Kidd,
Right.
yeah, he a beast. He different
But-
defensively,
yeah.
but he does have
everybody-
that. He does have that push the pace. He has high basketball IQ.
Yeah,
He has a knack for just knowing where to be as far as like rebounding.
as like an interior
Um,
passer, like that's that's the closest thing he has to
Yeah.
Jason Kidd. Like he's a really good interior passer.
Yeah, he's ridiculous as an interior
But
passer.
like,
But the J Kidd comparison, J Kidd, he's a beast.
but he's
defensively.
nowhere on the defensive end. And
Mhm.
everybody forgets, even though he was called Acing Kid to
Yeah.
start his
He,
career,
he
like
developed.
he
He developed that
he
shot.
became a 3-point shooter pretty quickly. It wasn't that long, maybe like
Yeah.
third, fourth year.
Acing
And then
Kid.
after that, he was like he was a knockdown catch and shoot.
Shout out J Kidd, man. And him with the
Yeah.
Nets, man. He was put on the freaking show. Cap.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think in OKC they got shit coming back next season. They got
You would think.
yeah.
Knock on
They got-
wood.
Yeah, they got buku draft picks, especially from the Clippers. But shout out to the Pelicans fans, man, because I remember everybody was talking at the beginning of the season about how the Lakers about to go get us Victor Wembanyama. They 2-10. Listen to that, and then the Pelicans they was the number 1 seed. They got Zion, they got Ingram. Now what happened? Y'all missed the playoffs, and the Lakers in the playoffs. So think about that. and we don't even gotta do a pick swap this year. So as you get for talking. But yeah, man, that's our recap of the play-in and some more of these playoff matchups. Man, I can't wait. The playoffs about to be a movie. Hey, man.
West especially. West is gonna be
Yeah.
beautiful to watch.
Yeah, we'll be back soon. I'm not sure. Maybe Saturday we'll try to discuss and then we can give our playoff predictions. So
When's the first game?
First game is Saturday.
Yeah, what time is it?
Yeah, it
First
starts Saturday.
10 p.m. First playoff game.
Actually, no. Maybe Monday. I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure the first playoff game is
First playoff game is it's at noon. It's
Yeah,
the
Saturday.
Sixers and Nets.
Sixers in it.
Early game.
We previewed that series, right? Yeah. Last episode.
Yeah. I had them in 5 Sixers. I think we both had them in 5.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah,
I had to sleep and then I changed it. Yeah.
the Doc factor. But
yeah,
but yeah. yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they always have that first game earlier. So yeah, that's the first game. Then they got Celtics Hawks second game. That's 2:30. And then Knicks Cavs, and then last game end of the night is that last game? No, I'm tripping. They have Warriors Kings. No, that's the last game. Yeah, Warriors Kings the last game of the night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some people complaining about how what was it? the Clippers and the Suns travel isn't they don't have enough time between games and all this and that. I'm like, bro. So somebody said, Mel, it's like a 45-minute flight from Phoenix to LA. So like, relax, like. But yeah, I think that this series is gonna be great. This playoffs gonna be great. Can't wait to cover them. We're gonna be back. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in. If you're watching the video, make sure you subscribe to us. Follow us on Instagram at Double Dribble Pod and like the video for us.
Yes, sir.
We greatly appreciate it. Till next time, it's been Desto, it's been Drew. Appreciate y'all. Peace.